everyone, I am Irina. I am back with a new contribution. If you see me for the first time, I have a channel on history and language, and I try to make these mini lessons on topics which interest me and which I've been studying for a while. These topics are normally about Germanic languages, the Viking Age, Norse myth, literature, and so on, because I have a PhD in Norse studies as well as a master's degree in ancient cultures and a BA in Germanic languages. But either way, papers are not that important. What is important is my interest, of course, and my enthusiasm with which I want to share with you stuff I read or stuff I come across during my little researches. So today's topic is one more video about Germanic languages compared. We're going to look at some words which have to do with nature or the natural environment. I made a selection of these words, and I will try to discuss the different ways or rather better said, the similar ways we name these things in both West Germanic and North Germanic languages. Of course, the list is not that comprehensive because there are many more Germanic languages, some of them extinct, than I am presenting to you here. So either way, I hope you find this of interest, and I also hope you can help me with a like and subscribe to make this little channel grow. Let's start with the first term I picked. So I have sea. The term sea is a Proto-Germanic word, Siwis, and we have cognates in different languages. In German, we have, for example, die See. So this is the sea as the large body of water, but we also have der See, which is a lake. And this is interesting, which is why I'm going to talk about both sea and lake in the same context, because they're kind of related to each other. Okay, so we also have in Dutch See. It's written with the Z. We also have this word, so the cognate, the term that derives from the Old Germanic word. We have it in the Scandinavian languages, but in the form of hö, for example, in Swedish, or sö in Danish, but here it means lake. So it's the smaller body of water. Okay. Then, of course, in German you can also say Meer, das Meer. It is a word which is also in Dutch, but in Dutch, Meer is a lake again. It is from a Proto-West Germanic word, but in its turn is from a Proto-Indo-European word with many derivatives in Slavic, Latin languages, and so on. And it just means a body of water. Okay. Interestingly, in Scandinavian languages, we have hav as a word, pronounced differently depending which Scandinavian languages you speak. This is from the Old Norse word hav, and the Proto-Germanic word also had a cognate in Old English, have, but it was replaced by the other word, sea. In English, however, we have a related term, which is haven, which is the same word. Yeah, haven, used in the past with the sense of harbor as well, but nowadays I think it's only used with the sense of refuge. So I don't think it's used with the sense of a harbor anymore. Okay. Speaking of lake, well, English took it from Latin. Yes, lacus is from Latin. So it doesn't. English borrowed a lot of words, including words which are part of the basic fundamental vocabulary from Old French, from medieval Latin, actually, via Old French usually. Okay, the next word I have for you is mountain. We are speaking of Latin and Old French. La montagne, yeah, it's the same case. Latin, it would be mons, montis. In other Germanic languages, we have, for example, the term Berg. Yeah, so in German, Berg. In Dutch, this is Berkas, a Proto-West Germanic word. Which also has relatives in Old Norse, for example, Bjarg. And in Dutch and in German, it actually means mountain. In Old Norse, it meant like rock or cliff. And in English, we have it in compound words rather. Yeah, so you have iceberg, for example. So it's not. It's also present in English somehow. Okay. The more fascinating term, at least for me, is the term in the Scandinavian languages, which is fjell or fjell. This depends how you pronounce it. This is the old Germanic word falisas. And it also gave us some words in German and Dutch, so in the other group of languages, the West Germanic languages, but not with the sense, with the meaning of mountain, but with the original meaning of cliff or rock. Yeah, we have fels, fels. It's just spelled with a V in Dutch. So it was a word that meant very high elevation, with rocks, cliffs, and so on, boulders, whatever you like. Good. Moving on, well, staying in the area of elevations, and we're going to move to hill. Hill is an old word. It also existed in Old Saxon and Old Frisian and other Germanic languages. The reconstructed Germanic form is hulis. And it might be related, among other things, to another old English word, which we also find in Old Norse, which is holm or holmer. This is an island or a small island, and it actually makes sense because what is an island? It is a small, small elevation above water. So, yeah, it makes total sense. Okay, in German we have Hügel. It comes from Haugas, Proto-Germanic. It's related to the Icelandic or Old Norse Haugur or Hauger. In Old Norse, it also had the sense of mound. Yeah. This is also present in Swedish as hög. Hög meaning tall, as a matter of fact. So it has to do with height. It's an old word which meant something high, but you can also use it as the noun itself. Yeah, so I have höjd, for example. It can mean height, but it can also mean just like hill, so somewhere up high. Høj in Danish and other Scandinavian variants. Other words you can use for it are in Swedish, for example, kulla. This is also some kind of mound, and you can also use bakke, like either Norwegian or Swedish. Bakke, it comes from Old Norse, and it meant not only a hill but also like a bank or a ridge. So it was a more general term, let's say. Okay, we're done with the mountains and the hills. Let's move to something flat, which is field. And the word it comes from, felta, actually meant something flat. And this is quite easy because we have the word in all Germanic languages that I know of. So we have feld, for example, in Swedish. We have feld, yeah, das Feld in German, and Feld in Danish, Norwegian, and so on. You can also use the term mark or mark, and this is a very interesting word because it also comes from Proto-Germanic, and it meant something like a borderland. So a land where you had a lot of wilderness, for example, an unexplored land almost, so something at the border. Um, and of course, you also have plain, which is from Latin again, planus. Um, so let's move on with the forest. So forest is again la forêt, medieval Latin forestis. The word does exist in German as Forst, but in German Forst is more like it is a forest, but it's a forest which is used to a specific economic purpose. So it's not something natural, it's something taken care of humans in order to fulfill some economic function. The other term, however, is also in reference to wilderness, the natural environment. Wald, yeah, in German, der Wald. Woud in Dutch. And this word also existed in Old English as well, but it was replaced by its Latin counterpart, respectively, French counterpart. In Dutch, you can also say bos. It's cognate actually with bush. Yes, it comes from busk. It's the reconstructed word in Old Germanic, so it's cognate with bush. On the other hand, in the North Germanic languages, we have terms inherited from the Old Norse. Skoger, so you have skog or sku. It depends on how you want to pronounce it. And I'm not sure about the origin of this word, but I think it has something to do with something sticking out. Maybe related to, trees sticking out, something like this. Okay. Let's see. We also have river. I also have river on the list. So river is rivier in Dutch, and it has to do with again with the Latin word priparia. I think was in Vulgar Latin or something. Okay. In other Germanic languages, we have Fluss, which is in der Fluss, that's in German, and it comes from an Old Germanic word, fleutan, reconstructed fleutan, which is cognate with the English fleet. Yeah, so something fleeting. Okay, and speaking of fleeting, we also have the word stream, to use instead of river. And this is also from a Proto-Germanic word, trauma, which is to flow. So these words are kind of like in the same family. In the North Germanic languages, we have a beautiful word, which is elv in Swedish, elv, Danish Norwegian, elver in Old Norse. And this word might have something to do with the Proto-Indo-European word albi, white. I'm not very sure. If anyone has more information about that, please leave a comment. Either way, it's an old Indo-European word. And so I mentioned stream, and you can also use the word flood. The word flood is also an old one, so it comes from basic Germanic, Old Germanic vocabulary, flóð in Old Norse, and reconstructed would be flóðus, which is a deluge, flute. We also have it in German. Yes, flute. Okay. The last term I picked, which I found a little more fascinating, is beach. It's a fascinating word because usually the word for beach in the other Germanic languages is some form of the reconstructed Germanic word strandl. So you can say strand in Icelandic, or you can say just strand in German, or you can say strand in Scandinavian, and so on. So it has to do with this root. In English, the word is very interesting because it comes from another word, Bacchis, which is the same word as the German Bach, so the little stream. And in time, it extended its meaning, and it got to mean, the stony shores of the stream as well. Okay, so these were my terms for today. I hope you found them at least somehow inspiring. And if you like my YouTube videos, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for following me, and I wish you all the best. In the description, you can find a link to my academia page, to the World History Encyclopedia page, where I sometimes write or post photographs, anyway, different kinds of materials. Also a link to my Facebook page. Thank you once again. Have a beautiful day, and all the best.